Vermont's culture and the culture of agriculture, past and future. And I think we've really got a group that is representative of a lot of different perspectives in our state. And we're just gonna try to have a very open conversation about culture and agriculture, and then probably we'll get to a point an hour in, maybe before that, where we'll open it up for Q&A questions. So on that note, there are notepads on your tables. If, as this conversation is going along, you've got a question that kind of comes to mind, write it down, and then that way, you've saved it. We can get to it at the hour mark. And if you're not comfortable standing up and asking the question, feel free to come to me and hand me the question that you have, and I'd be happy to ask it. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Ben, and our panelists will be introducing themselves, so I don't want to take time to do that, but everyone's names and affiliations are up there on the screen. So thank you. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Jake.
All right, let's just do a volume check. Is that good for folks? You can hear me? Awesome. So very quickly, this conversation is so much not about me, but Jake just sort of naively handed me the keys to this thing. So I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to share a couple of reflections, I think, on what we've heard there, and just to introduce myself a little bit. So first of all, let's all stand up for just a quick second here, because we're going to be sitting for the next hour 15, hour and 20 minutes. Let's just rise onto our toes, right? So, at the age of 47, I'm teaching myself how to jump rope, but I didn't have an opportunity this morning to get in my jump, so we're just going to do a little bounce. I think this is for my benefit more than yours, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. Thank you. Feel that rhythm? Yes, awesome. And without a rope, it's so much easier. Awesome. I've never gotten to do this before. I'm so empowering. All right. So as Jake said, my name is Ben Hewitt. I'm here to facilitate this awesome panel of folks who are working Vermont's landscape in myriad ways. I just wanted to offer a couple of quick reflections. So I work for this little organization called Rural Vermont that maybe a handful of you have heard of and are familiar with. So we're a very small, but we'd like to think mighty statewide organization that is doing our humble best to aid in some of the transitions of Vermont's agriculture and food systems, hopefully in the direction of greater equity, access, and opportunity. And we do this through advocacy, through outreach, education, through community organizing, and it is really our greatest hope that ultimately all Vermont farmers have equal right to prosper, and all Vermonters have equal access to locally produced nutrient-dense food. So that's our work. I was thinking a lot through Andy's excellent presentation about the ways in which culture shifts and how it's so dynamic and all the forces that impact culture, and I thought you did a really wonderful job of sort of addressing that and talking about that. And I was thinking too about language and stories. I think so much of culture is stories. And one of the reasons I was thinking about that so much is that I just watched an amazing TED Talk. Anyone who's interested in this should definitely go and Google Wade Davis TED Talk. And he is an anthropologist who's done a lot of work on language. And we have lost about half of the world's 6,000 languages. And when we lose a language, he explains, we don't just lose a language. We lose the stories that go along with that language, and ultimately we lose the culture. Because translation, of course, is very imperfect, so even though there may be a written record, translation just doesn't really add up to culture. And I found that to be very impactful to think about that. And I was also, as we were watching these really wonderful video stories that Andy brought, I was thinking a lot even about that wonderful, rich Vermont accent, and how I think when that came on, there was this little chuckle that came through the room, and it wasn't like laughing at them, it was this chuckle of I think familiarity and almost comfort, right? And I was thinking about how infrequently I hear that accent anymore. I grew up in Vermont. I was born and raised in East Enosburg. My mother used to ride her bike to a dairy farm to milk cows. At that time, there were over 6,000 dairy farms in Vermont. There are now about 10% that many. That farm is one of those that is still actually in operation. But that language and that's that way of talking. So it's not all lost, I think, and I think we can easily get sort of caught up in the idea that it's all lost. There are things to be gained, I think, as cultures shift. And I'm gonna leave it at that, because it really isn't about me. So, all right, we have this wonderful panel of folks representing a number of different styles and types of farming in the state. And I think I will start by giving you each a quick opportunity to introduce yourselves. What I would like you to do, if you would, is just introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your farm, and then I would like you to share one moment from the past week in relation to your work on the land, or in relation to farming and food that really stands out to you, that is meaningful to you in some way. So Chuda, we'll begin with you.
Hey everyone, my name is Chuda, originally from Bhutan, and I came here in 2009. So I started raising the goat in Pine Island farm in Colchester, Vermont. So when I came here in United States, so I have a lot of relatives, friends, they already came here, and they still coming more from like the eastern part of the Nepal. I saw one of the most losing everyone asking like the question, what is most things you did not get here in the United States? The people, the only one answer like from the people is also they miss like the fresh like the goat meat, because back our country they used to slaughter the animals and they use like the very fresh. We do have a lot of store like a Asian market in Burlington area, Winooski, but people they like the fresh like a goat meat. Thinking that because I have a little, I just left my country when I was 90 years old. I have a very little knowledge because my father used to raising animals like a different kind of like the cattle. So I used to engage with little bit there in back the country, and when I came Nepal, sitting on the refugees like the status. So I used to go to school, and when I finished my class 12 from school, my father used to do the business outside the refugee camp, because the UNHCR or the government of Nepal, they didn't allow us to raise any animals inside the refugee camp because we live in a very densely populated area, and because of the health issue and the other purpose, they didn't allow us to raise any animals inside the refugee camp. But my father used to buying and selling same like at the auction, like a goat, and I just joined him a couple of years, and then when I get a little knowledge, I myself did like a 7-8 years back the country, like at the auction thing. From there, I have a little like the knowledge about the goat health issues and what kind of like the goat they need to like stay on a barn, what kind of pen, what kind of like the hay and the grass, about the grain things, and is it much like the different growing the meat goat and the dairy with the milking goat. So I have some knowledge back there, but when I came in here in the United States, it's much like the difference where we raise the animals back our country and here, and a lot of like climatical change. And that time when I came here, I have a most number one problem is the language. So I can't like communicate with a lot of people, only my community. But right now, but my desire and the country where I come from here in United States, I'm proud here because this is the land of opportunity. So if somebody wants to do like the legally things, any sort of like the things, always like the very supportive people in Vermont. So they teach me a lot of things, very supportive like the farmer, lot of farmer in Vermont. So, but I try to like go forward, and then now we are here. Now I have raising like a 400 goat, and those are only for the meat goat. And so far we just sell whole goat. We have a slaughter room. The people, they can buy goat from me, and then they can slaughter. We have all facility, they can slaughter, and they bring the meat on the home. That's a culture is very important, because I remember when I was 25 years, one of my like a little brother, the people, they asked him to where you got the milk. Every day he drink like the milk, actually like the cow milk, but some people ask him to where this milk come from, and he without any like the thinking, he's like the kid, but if he knows like the milk is coming from the cow, he definitely says like the cow milk is coming from the cow, but he never see cow and then where the milk come from. He suddenly says like this milk is come from bicycle, because the guy every day they deliver the milk from the Bleu